This is a picture that shows the disproportionate impact of violence on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women. It's a national picture that shows that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women reporting experience violence at 3 times the rate of non-Indigenous women, are hospitalised at 32 times the rate of non-Indigenous women, and are 11 times more likely to be killed than non-Indigenous women. In the Northern Territory, Indigenous women are killed by their intimate partners at almost 13 times the rate of non-Indigenous women or men. Nationally, the picture shows that intimate partner violence contributes 10.9% of the burden of disease of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women aged 18 to 44, more than any other health risk factor, including alcohol or tobacco use and being overweight or obese. But how did this picture come to be? The picture shows how gender inequality intersects with ongoing impacts of colonization to increase the risk of violence against Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women. These drivers create the context where the violence can occur and be justified, minimised or condoned when it does. Drivers also create more barriers for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women to get help. This picture shows an Aboriginal woman. When she is young, she's told that there's only one way to be a woman and one way to be a man. Girls are quiet and gentle, whilst boys are loud and rough. Women take care of the home and nurture children. Men work outside the home and are decision makers and leaders. She learns that women are dependent on men and men have a right to control their female partners and families. This picture shows a man. When he is young, he learns that he has to be tough and strong. His friends often take a lot of risk and fight with others. Violence is seen as something to aspire to. Strong young men are violent and sexually aggressive. He learns that he shouldn't show any vulnerability. It's okay to show anger, but not to cry. When he's upset, his friends tell him don't be gay and to stop being such a girl. In fact, being called a girl is the biggest insult of all. He learns that being a man means being stoic, and he learns that women are weak and lesser to men. The picture shows that when the young women and men get into a relationship, they have already been taught all these ideas about how their relationship should be and the roles they should play within it. He's supposed to be dominant, in charge, possessive, and jealous. She is supposed to be dependent and isolated. And when the roles are challenged, he acts with the violence he has seen and learned. It pushes down the shame he feels and thinks, if only she wouldn't do those things, I wouldn't get so angry. Blaming her helps him push down the shame. But it isn't just the gender inequality that has created this picture. The ongoing impacts of colonization have introduced and exacerbated risk factors for this violence. Countries that have been colonized are 50 times more likely to have high rates of violence against women than those that have not. The young Aboriginal woman grew up in her community. Her old people have told her stories about when white people came and violently settled the lands. Her people were pushed off their traditional lands and forcibly settled into communities. Many were killed. Children were stolen from the arms of their parents, many never seen again. They were not allowed to speak their language or practice their culture. As their whole community grieves, they have learned to interact with coercive systems that continue to disempower them. The young Aboriginal woman sees the poor way that these systems and institutions often treat her family members. She doesn't think she could ever go to these same systems if she needed help. Many of her family are incarcerated, some for just having unpaid fines. When there is family violence, she hears non-Indigenous people say, that's just part of their culture. They've always been violent to their women, or violence is acceptable for Aboriginal people. But she knows what her old people have told her, which is violence against women has never been a part of her culture. And there's a third part of this picture. The ongoing impacts of colonization on non-Indigenous people and society. This is the perpetuation of systems and structures that continue to benefit non-Indigenous people and disadvantage and disempower Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. But it doesn't have to be this way. It's time to change the picture. To change the picture, we need to challenge and dispel common myths and misconceptions about violence against Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women. Violence against women and children is not part of traditional Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander cultures. Violence against Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women is not an Aboriginal problem. This violence is found among all ethnicities, classes and social groups, and violence against Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women is perpetrated by Indigenous and non-Indigenous men. Violence is not caused by alcohol and other substance abuse. Alcohol and other drugs can trigger violence and make it worse, but it does not cause violence. This is a harmful excuse that minimizes the choice to use violence and pathologizes addiction. To change the picture, we need to take the following actions. 1. Address the legacies and ongoing impacts of colonization for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, families and communities. 2. Address the legacies and ongoing impacts of colonization for non-Indigenous people and across Australian society. 3. Address the gender drivers of violence against Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women. Changing the picture is possible. Violence against Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander women is preventable. We all have a part to play to change the picture.